Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back or welcome for the first time to the Electric Vibe podcast. I'm one of your three regular co-hosts, J. David Silva. We have a different type of show this week, a very important show, a show recognizing hope and acknowledging courage from the Sandy Hook tragedy. Victoria Soto was a passionate teacher who tragically lost her life protecting her Sandy Hook Elementary School students on December 14, 2012. In her honor, the Vicki Soto Memorial Fund Incorporated was created, supported annually by the Vicki Soto 5K. This event was first held through the picturesque Lordship section of Stratford, Connecticut, which was Vicki's hometown. This year, as in several years past, it is now back in Bridgeport, Connecticut at the Hartford Healthcare Amphitheater, being held on Saturday, November 1st. And due to its size and scope, it's really turned into a major event, so they definitely need that space. Here to tell us about the event and to talk about Vicki, we're welcoming back Vicki's sister, Jillian Marino. Jillian, welcome back to the Electric Vibe podcast. It's great to have you again.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to join you guys.
Certainly my pleasure. And I can imagine with the race coming up and all the things that you're doing, you must be tremendously busy lately. Can you talk about that just a little bit?
Yeah, we are super busy. This time of year, we have a lot happening with getting things finalized for the race. Even though we've been going for 13 years, there's still a lot that goes into a race every year with picking out the color shirts that we're going to do, whether we do long sleeves, short sleeves, what the design is going to be, what our pins are going to look like, what medals are going to look like. And then you have the logistics behind everything, like getting the bips ready, getting everything put together for the actual race, getting all the vendors put together, the food trucks. So there's a lot going on right now. And we are actually getting ready. Tomorrow's like our last day for basket raffle stuff to be dropped off so that we can get pictures taken, get that posted on our website so we can launch our basket raffle before bid pickup. So there's been a lot going on.
Sure. And Jillian, this is such a major event and such an important event. Can you talk about the support system that you have helping you with this massive undertaking?
So we have an incredible support system. Within the Vicki Soto Memorial Fund, it is primarily run by Vicki's family. So when we originally started RFK, our cousin Jim Wiltsey started it, and working with different people throughout the racing community. And now Vicki's younger brother, Matthew Soto, has kind of stepped in and been helping Jim a lot through the years. And now Matthew's kind of doing a lot of the stuff behind the scenes and getting this race running. So everything is run by family, by friends, by the incredible volunteers that we have met throughout the years with our 5K who have reached out, wanted to continue to work with us, wanted to be a part of this incredible event and honor Vicki's legacy.
And when does the preparation actually start for the 5K? I mean, so, obviously, does it start right after the last one ends, or can you take us through that process a little bit?
Yeah, so pretty much we take like a week off after the 5K, and then we have like a wrap up meeting where we kind of go over everything that went well, things that we want to do differently from the 5K. So we will meet where Vicki's aunts, uncles come in, different people who are at the event, who took part in things, like things that we've seen that we want to change things up and bring different ideas, because we have been around for 13 years. We want to make sure we keep it relevant. We want to make sure we keep people wanting to come back every year and support this event. So we start those conversations very early on. And because our event is in November, when it comes to sponsors, this is now at the end of the year. So a lot of big corporations, they've already hit their budget of what they can give out for sponsorships. So we actually are reaching out way ahead of time back in like January for sponsorships, because if we wait till October to reach out to people, they've already hit their budget. So that's something we've realized over the years, that waiting to the few months before the 5K isn't really always the best idea. We try to reach out as soon as we can, picking out our shirts, flyers, working on designs, and just building everything up. So that really happens shortly after the 5K. And then from beginning of the summer is really when we're getting into the technicality of the 5K and looking at shirts, looking at designs that we want to do, and sending out the emails about the 5K, getting our promotional stuff put together, and just meeting as a team about, all right, here's what we're going to do this year, who's taking what task, and then just going from there.
Okay, great. So, Jillian, what can the public expect from this year's event? To your point, it is the 13th annual, and I know that the events are different. I mean, the overall theme is pretty stable, but what can we expect this year from the event?
So one of the things we really focus on is Vicki was a very family oriented person. She was all about her family, and we really want this to be not just a 5K and a kids fun run. We want it to be a family event, which is why we also have the spectator wristbands that can be purchased. So even if you don't want to take part in there, you're still able to come and support the foundation, but also your family members or your loved ones who are taking part in the race. So we're having a lot of we have some different vendors coming this year. We have some different food trucks that have signed up to be there. This is our first year where Outback Steakhouse is actually coming, and they're going to be serving some food. We also wanted to do some more things for kids. We are going to have like tattoo stations for kids where they get to put on some flamingo tattoos. We're going to have coloring stations. So while we're leading up to that race time, there'll be more things for kids to do as well as adults, because who doesn't want to get a tattoo or go and color pages? So we'll have those things. And like always, we're going to have lots of opportunities for photos with different props throughout the Ample 3 days. And we also will have a photo booth like we've had in the past. So there's going to be a lot of fun things, not just for kids, but for adults to take part in.
That's great. Really something for everyone then.
Yes.
Great, great. And Jillian, tell us about the schedule of events and how things are going to work. Talking about, the parking, entrance, start times for the event, things like that.
Yeah. So one of the great things about where we are located is you can take public transportation and bypass waiting in line to park. So you can actually take the train and it takes you right by where our gate will be to come inside. But if you wanted to park, parking is completely free when you come down. There's several lots at the theater that you can park in. You just follow the sign and the attendants there will tell you where to go. Gates are going to open at 7 o'clock, and then our road close it will start closing around 7:30. The kids fun run is going to start at 9, and we're going to do that. Our kids fun run, we have different stages of, so we'll have like the bigger kids start, and then once they're close to the end, we'll have the younger kids, and then we're going to have for the first time another group. So with the really little kids, as a parent, I have a young kid and realized last year he got trampled even when he was in that second group because they're still really big compared to these little guys with these little legs. So we're going to do it in 3 stages this year. So that will start at 9, and then our 5K starts at 10. And then once every at 7:30 when gates open, that's when the fun starts. That's when you come in, you get your tattoos. We're going to have face painters again and lots of fun things. So 7:30 is when the fun starts, and we will keep going until the last person leaves the theater.
That's great. That's really great. Can you talk about, you had mentioned like Outback is going to be there and some different food trucks. Can you talk about who some of the sponsors are this year?
Yes. Being around for 13 years, we have a lot of our core sponsors that are always part of us. Burns Construction is a sponsor this year. We have Parlor Pizza, the YMCA. Stratford Library is another huge sponsor that we have that has always supported our foundation. We also have Kaskoff and Beater at the Law Group that is a sponsor, and Dockside Brewery is going to be there. We talked about Outback Steakhouse going to be there, and we have a lot of different food vendors that are going to be there that have been sponsors in the past and are continuing to be sponsors and continue to support the foundation.
Julian, one of the things that I've noticed having attended before and seeing, a lot of the events, the food trucks and the different vendors and things like that, is that sense of community. Everyone coming together. People get dressed up. They're there in their pink. They've got their boas on and they've got all different outfits on. And they really, really make it a fun time. Can you talk about what that means to you and your family, that sense of community and outpouring of support?
It means a lot. I think that, my family, we put on a very brave face when we're there and smile and take our pictures. And we're so grateful for the sea of pink that we get to see. But it also is such a blessing to see that even 13 years later, Vicki has not been forgotten, that communities continue to show up for her, even when we moved out of Stratford and moved to our Bridgeport location, to see Bridgeport welcome us and do so much for this foundation and for our 5K and, continue to want to see this 5K succeed. And to see so many people who have been with us from the beginning, who were there even when it was pouring rain, racing with us, who still showed up when we had to do a virtual 5K during COVID,
Hmm.
and who still come every year. It's incredible. And it's something that, when you think about how my sister died, when we get to see the sea of pink at this 5K, it reminds us how much good there is in this world. And it reminds us that, love does win, which is a huge thing that came out of Sandy Hook, where Anna Grace's mom, there was a big saying that she said all the time. And it's something that stays with me, and especially at the 5K, seeing so many people who come every year and they have their educator sash. That was like our first way we acknowledged educators, and they have that on. And then you see all of their pins from year after year on that sash, or when they wear them on their shirt. It's everything. It shows you that support and how loved Vicki is, and how many people believe in the legacy that she has left behind.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's so well said. And if I can just expound on that a little bit, because what I've noticed is even after, the race itself is done, the amount of people that just stay, I mean, they're milling about, they're talking. You're right. In the face of this tragedy, there's that hope. There's that courage. People are hugging, they're laughing, they're just hanging out with each other, and no one's in a rush to go home. And
Well,
and so I see that camaraderie and that support that just goes on even after all the quote unquote formal events have
mhm.
ended. And I mean, there's music there. It really, really turns into such a fun time.
It truly is. Like, and I've been to lots of 5K, and there's just something about our 5K that it will always be my favorite one, not just because it's for my sister, but to see the love that's truly there, and seeing the fact that it is so family focused. And you see at the finish line, when you cross that finish line, you have Vicky's family, her nephews and her nieces are the ones passing out water to the runners coming in. You see the people passing out the medals are Vicky's family. It's everything. It's so much more than just a race. It is this huge honor to have all these people be there to show up for Vicky. And then at the end, seeing everybody still eating and dancing and having fun, even after the race is over, is such a great thing. And like, you're right, Jay, it's such a cool thing to be a part of at the end, that nobody is in a rush to go home. Like, there's plenty of times it's 1 o'clock and we're like, all right, well, guess we're staying a little longer, because
Right.
people aren't ready to go home, and that's okay with us. Like, we're in it until the last person's ready to go home.
Yep. Yep. Wow. And can we talk a little bit about Vicky? Tell everyone a little bit about your sister. Do you have some special memories that you can share?
Vicky was an incredible person. And, if you have heard anything about my sister in the past 13 years, you know that she was the perfect person, and she was like the perfect child, never got in trouble. She was the best teacher in the whole world. She just excelled at everything. She was an incredible person. She also was a sister. She was the one who planned everything when it came to what are we getting our parents for Christmas? What are we doing for their birthday? She had the plan, and it was like, ask Vicki. Vicki knows what we're doing. And when it came to, figuring out what we're gonna wear to things even, Vicki would tell us, like, no, that doesn't look okay. And she was very much like the heart of our family. After she patched, it's like I know I worried a lot that we would lose this closeness that we have as a family, and that didn't happen. My cousins and I are all still very close. We raise our kids very close with one another, and Vicki instilled all of that into us and how important family was. So when I think of my sister, I think of the person who taught us what it was to be in the family, what it was to love your family. And, a lot of times we say, like, when a parent passes, like, they were the heart of our family. I think for my family, Vicki is the heart of our family. Even though she's gone, like, we still carry so many core values that we had with her that we have now continued and we bring into our lives now, that me and my sister are parents, and we brought so many of those things into our lives that we had with Vicki. And she was the best. I actually, when I was looking through some stuff the other day on Facebook, one of the things that came up on Facebook memory, she wrote on my Facebook wall. This is when it was cool to write on people's Facebook walls.
Right.
Uh, and this is also when it was cool to have Facebook.
Right.
She wrote that Roxy is now her number one sister. That I have to pull it up because I cannot get this wrong, because it is probably the funniest thing in the world. So she says, Vicki, or Roxy, which is Vicki's dog, is now my favorite sister. You're moved down to the bottom. The skeleton in the bathroom is above you. And of course, it's around Halloween, and we had this skeleton that was on the door in our bathroom. And that memory is just such a core sister thing where, the dog is above you, the decoration is above you. And I could not tell you what we were even arguing about. But it's like one of those things, like, you see it and it's just like, I miss that banter
Right.
that you have with your sibling. But I'm also grateful that Facebook existed when my sister was around, that there's these memories that I get to look back at, and, you get to keep. They didn't just disappear, where, you know, social media is not always the best thing ever, but
Right.
there's also some great things where it captured things that when people pass, that you get to look back at, and, like, you feel really good and remember things that you probably would have forgotten about
Right.
if it wasn't videotaped or something.
Right, right. And before I ask my next question, since you mentioned Facebook, I'm going to bring that up because I am always very amazed that literally either during or right after the 5K, I mean, the amount of social media posts and support and love that is shown, I mean, right away, and then for days afterwards is incredible. People sharing hundreds of pictures literally on one post and talking about the impact that the event had on them. I mean, it's very heartwarming because, to your point, social media isn't always the best, but in this day and age, we need things like that. We need that support. We need that love. We need the sharing of photos and that spirit. So seeing that every year really, really means a lot to me. And I can imagine it does to you, the family, and the foundation too.
Yeah, we encourage people to share things. We have an incredible media person, Ryan Granny, who has been with us since probably about 13 years now. And she does a fabulous job with helping us get a lot of things out on social media, but also putting all those tags on things like, hey, take pictures, make sure you tag us in them. getting those connections to our foundation's page and our website, because we love looking at that, because the day is so busy for us. Even 13 years later, we're still doing so many things that it's hard for us to just stop and truly take everything in. So when we look back at the pictures that are on the race with people running, waving hi to the camera, those things are everything, because we don't get to see them,
Right,
because
right.
once everyone takes off running, we're now running to the next step, getting the waters ready, getting food ready, getting medals ready and trophies. So we don't get to go out on the course to see everybody enjoying that part of the race. So getting to look at all those things and seeing everyone show up, and even just posting pictures like, it's morning of, this is my outfit I'm wearing. It's such a cool thing, because that's also something you see like with Disney races. When people are going to Disney and they're taking part in their races, like people go all out for their outfits. Days leading up to the 5K, when we're being tagged and picked up my bib today and have my outfit picked out, and they're showing those things, it is such a cool thing to see how far our race has come. Our first year, when we started playing this, I remember my cousin Jim, who started the race, he said he was going to be happy if we had 500 people sign up. And I was like, 500 people? Like, I don't even think we know 500 people, but okay. And even that year, we had over 1,000 people come, and it has continued to grow and grow and grow. Jim said to us that our second year has to be bigger than our first year. And that's how you have a successful 5K. If your second year is not bigger than your first year, you're not going to be able to sustain the race. And so I was like, how do we beat this? And every year we've just grown and grown and grown, and it's incredible. And I think social media, the power of social media and getting this word out, like we post flyers everywhere. We do a lot of things, face to face, but being able to post on social media about our race and sharing things and having others share it has definitely helped so much with getting the word out, spreading the message about our 5K. So there is so much good that does come with social media.
And I want to take a step back and talk just a little bit more about Vicki, because in full disclosure, having been close to your family for so many decades, showing my age, I've been to the parties, the birthday parties and the different events and some of the things that, your father and I would do together. That your point about Vicki and being the heart of the family and that level of spirit, I see that permeating tangibly into the 5K. I mean, I can see that from just being at the event, or the planning and the things that I talk about with my wife, Robin. No, I can really, really see that. And it is a true testament, I think, to who she was and what that spirit and energy is bringing to the 5K.
Truly is. And, your family, Jay, is a huge part of our family. We're not just friends. You've known me my whole life. You've known Vicki majority of her life. You guys have always been a part of Vicki's story. When I talk about Vicki being the heart of our family, like, your wife, Robin, has been my babysitter since I was born.
Right.
And she was still in high school when that happened. That relationship has maintained through years, to the point I'm a mom of two, and Robin and your daughter babysit my kids.
Right.
And, you have become, you're family to us. You're not just our friend, you are family. And that is all stuff like that Vicki has really helped put into place. And, you know, even before Vicki passed, it's not like you guys weren't a part of her life, but I feel like it brought us even closer.
Absolutely. Right.
And it's just a great way that we're able to honor Vicki by having you guys still a huge part of her life, and being able to come here and do this podcast with you the past 2 years. And, Robin and Juliana, your daughter, have literally worked our Team Vicki tent for probably about 13 years now.
Yeah.
And you have done it plenty of times as well. And that's the community. That is
Right. Right.
what Vicki was all about. Is family is not just blood. Family is the people who show up, the people who love no matter what. And that's what we see when we do this 5K. That's what we see every year at this 5K, the amount of people who show up to support one another, to support educators, to support Sandy Hook, to support Vicki, to support my family. And that's everything to us and would be everything to Vicki.
Indeed, indeed. Can you talk about a little bit, Jillian, about Vicky's passion for education and what being a teacher meant to her?
As I've gotten older, like Vicki knew she wanted to be a teacher for her whole entire life. I was not one of those people who ever knew what I wanted to be. And to this day, I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up, and I'm 37 years old. So it was always a wild thing to me that somebody could be so passionate and driven to one thing from a very early age. But as I've gotten older and having kids in school, you see teachers who were meant to be teachers. And that is what Vicki was. Vicki was meant to be a teacher. She loved everything about it. And as a parent with a child in first grade right now, you truly see there are some teachers who are burnt out because it's not an easy job. But then you also have teachers who are so invested and they love fiercely those children and they are her children. And that is how Vicki looked at teaching. Those kids, when they walked through her classroom doors, those were her kids. Those are her responsibility. And she would do anything for them. And she did. She poured so much of her own money into her classroom and doing everything she can for her kids. She wanted to be that fun teacher. She wanted to be the teacher that when kids look back at, was there a teacher in their life that made a difference for you? She wanted kids to be like, Miss Soto was that for me. Miss Soto was a teacher who went above and beyond. And that was always Vicki's goal when it came to being a teacher. When I got the phone call that there was a shooting at her school, one of the first things I said was, Vicki would give her life for those kids without knowing. At this point, we had no idea the magnitude of what happened. All we knew was there was a shooting at the school. And that was the first thought and the first thing that I verbalized, because that is how much my sister loved those children. That is how much she loved those kids, that when she walked in that classroom, she was going to protect them at all costs. If someone was going to do harm to those kids, she was going to protect them if it meant losing her life. And I think that just shows the type of teacher she was. She wasn't just crazy and silly and full of life. She was a mama bear. When those kids were in her class, like, she protected them at all costs. And, I know that she made a difference even to the kids who had her years before Sandy Hook. They still talk to us and they've reached out that they had Vicki and the difference she made. And we love hearing from her past students about her as a teacher, because we know her as our sister, as our daughter. And we saw her sometimes in the classroom, but not 8 hours a day.
Right,
These
right.
kids did, and they got to see a side of her that we only got glimpses into. The same person she was at home, silly and goofy and always singing and dancing and having fun, was the person she was in a classroom.
I can certainly attest to that. So, Jillian, having said that, tell us about the impact that the Vicki Soto Memorial Fund has had on students, on educators, and communities since its inception.
So we knew when Vicki passed that we wanted her legacy to go to educators, because that's who she was. She was an educator through and through, and we wanted to make sure we did something along those lines. And we knew and we wanted to do a scholarship. So we do 4 scholarships every school year, and we now have 40 plus scholarship recipients who have received the Vicki Soto Memorial Fund scholarship, which is a 4-year renewable scholarship that students can apply for. And the scholarship goes to 2 students through our 2 local high schools in Stratford, Connecticut. And then we do a Connecticut scholarship, and then we do a national scholarship. So there is 2 opportunities for students anywhere in the United States that can apply for this scholarship. The only criteria really is they have to be going into education. So whether it is primary education, it's secondary education, it is special education, as long as it's education, they're able to apply for it. And we have a scholarship committee that goes through and we pick 4 winners yearly. We have done a lot of different initiatives within schools and given money, whether to different school districts, and done like teacher lead classroom initiatives, whether it was buying curriculum, it was buying books for the classroom, things that teachers need. And schools' budgets don't always allow for them to do. So we've definitely tried to give back wherever we're able to. Another big thing that we do is we have the Miss Soto's library, where we will do book drives where anybody in the community is able to drop off books as long as they're gently used and they're K through 12 books. And we have an office full of books that we stock up, and then we do a community event where teachers, no matter where they're a teacher, no matter where in the state of Connecticut, as long as they're a teacher, they're able to come and take books completely free of charge. And there's no limit to it. They take as many books as they want to put back in their library, because Vicki collected books from probably starting in like 10th grade, started collecting books for her classroom library because she knew she was going to be a teacher and she wanted a big library. Books are expensive, and teachers, you're usually not in just one grade. Maybe one year you're teaching first grade, then you're in 4th grade. So we wanted to make sure we made it obtainable for teachers to be able to get books for all levels of their classroom and different reading levels. So teachers are able to come, and even if they're not able to make that day, they're able to reach out and pick different days that they can. Our last one, we had over 200 teachers come out and shop for our books. We have another one coming up soon. We also do a lot of donor choose. Since our foundation is all around education, we will go on Donors Choose and look for classroom projects that are all around literacy. So if teachers have books on their list they're looking to get, we will go and fund those projects and help continue Vicki's legacy of building classroom libraries.
That's great. Tremendous, tremendous effort. And you all should be very proud of the work that you're doing. Jillian, what are some ways throughout the year, independent of the 5K, that the public can still help support the fund and the foundation?
So there's lots of different things that they can do. One of the big things is checking out our Facebook page and our website, where we constantly are posting different things that we are doing in the community, whether it is book drives, it could be book drives that we're posting, it could be different community events that we may be at. And you can always stay in touch with those things. Another thing is you can always donate on our website. And another great thing that we have is we have an Etsy shop where we post all of our Vicki Soto merch. So whether it's sweatshirts, it's past race shirts, it's hats, pencils, pens, keychains, pins, anything that you can get usually at our 5K, we also will post on our Etsy page, and you can purchase things right there. And all of the proceeds that we get from donations, from the 5K, from our Etsy page, all of that goes back into education.
That's excellent. So as we begin to wrap up, Jillian, let me just ask you, what would Vicki think about the legacy and the impact that the Memorial Fund has had? What do you think her thoughts would be?
This is my favorite question because Vicki was not a selfish person by any means, but Vicki loved to be the number one in things. So she would definitely be like, yep, it's all about me. I'm the shit. She definitely would love everything about this. You know, she was not one of those people who seeked attention in any way, but knowing that there's a whole 5K where people show up to honor her, she would think of everything. She also would be rubbing it in our faces. When I mean our, I mean my sister, brother, and I's face that yet again, she is better than us. And she has a whole day dedicated to her, and all these people showed up for her. And what are they doing for us? Because that's normal sibling banter.
Right.
And so she would love everything about it. But she also, besides the silliness to it, she would love that people are showing up to support educators. Because though this is a day to honor her, it's also a day to raise money where we're able to give back to a profession that does not get enough credit, that does
Absolutely.
not get enough support. And everything that we do is around education. So whether it is giving money to school districts for literacy programs, it's scholarships to students pursuing education, that is something that would make Vicki so happy that we are recognizing the disparity around education and the lack of support teachers sometimes don't receive. And making a little difference by being able to help with a scholarship or buying books off of somebody's wish list or donors choose, that is our way of letting teachers know they're seen, that we appreciate them, and we want them to continue what they're doing because it makes a huge difference. And not everyone sees that, but we do see it.
Right, right. And it is tremendously important. Jillian, how many registered runners or walkers do you have so far for this year's 5K?
We are over 2,000 at this point. I am not sure on the last number, but I know we are very high up in our 2000s. And, you know, this is when we really see the pickup is the last few weeks. Like we do an early bird registration. So if you register between a certain time, you're guaranteed a shirt, but also it's a little cheaper to register. In this community, that's not something that people care about. They are still registering even the day of. We have tons of people who come and register. So it's so interesting when we finish the 5K, everyone's like, how many runners did you have? How many runners? We're like, we don't have that final number
Tally.
because even once the 5K has started, we still sometimes have people registering. And so it's this huge thing where we never actually know until a couple hours like afterwards what our final number is because you can also register as a virtual runner. So it doesn't matter if you're there crossing the finish line. You could be at home running, you could be in another country and running. So we're excited to see where we get. And, you know, we always try to guess where we're going to be at, but like you can't. Because
Right,
it's just, I don't even know how to explain it other than it's just what you think it's going to be. It's never that.
right, right.
And when you're there and you get to see this sea of pink and everybody there, and the sea of pink is going to be even bigger this year because our shirts are pink.
Yes.
So it's really going to be this huge sea of pink that we get to see where everyone's not just dressed up as flamingos. They're actually going to have pink on this year. And it's going to be incredible.
That's great. A true testament. Two quick things before we wrap up. Jillian, give us your socials so everybody knows where they can go. And then, of course, we're going to post all of our links, when we publish the episode. But where can we go? The website, socials, and your Etsy shop?
Oh, Jay, you're putting me on the spot.
Putting you on the spot.
So our website register for the 5K, you type in vickisoto5k.com. That will bring you to our 5K. And our website is Vicki Soto Memorial Fund.org. Oh god. Now dang, I gotta look it up.
I'll post it in the links,
Okay.
everybody be able to find
I'm
it.
like, I don't know.
Because I did put you on the spot.
I'm like, that was not on the list of questions you gave
It
me.
wasn't. In for full fairness, you're absolutely right.
Okay. So the website is teamvickisoto.com. And then on Facebook, we are Team Vicki or Vicki Soto Memorial Fund, Inc. And then what is our Etsy page? I gotta log into Etsy. In case you don't know these, they're also on the website.
Okay. And like I said, we're going to post them all in, at the end of the episode as well. So.
And then our username for Etsy is Team Vicki Soto. And
Great.
Instagram, Team Vicki Soto as well.
Great. So November 1st, 2025 is going to be the 13th annual Vicki Soto 5K. And the times, once again, Jillian, are?
Gates are going to open at 7 o'clock. Roads are closing at 7:30. Kids Fun Run is going to start at 9, and the 5K starts at 10 o'clock.
That's great. Well, Jillian, I want to thank you very much for taking your time. You are doing such noble work, and I'm very honored that you spent some time with me today. Very proud of the work that you and your family is doing. It's our pleasure to help support the Vicki Soto Memorial Fund and the Vicki Soto 5K. We're certainly going to do our best to promote and publish, and we hope that next year you'll come back and join us again, and we'll have more fun stuff to talk about.
Thank you so much. We are so grateful for you guys asking us again to be a part of this, but also the continued support that you guys have shown us. And Jay, you're everything to us. So we're very happy to have you a part of our family.
And I sure do appreciate that. And you know that I feel the same way. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you see and hear, please remember to give us a like, a follow, and subscribe to the Electric Vibe podcast. Every interaction that you give us allows us to bring you great content and important content like we've brought you tonight. Once again, I want to thank Jillian Soto-Marino for her time, and we certainly appreciate it. And we are encouraging everyone in one form or another, please help support the Vicki Soto Memorial Fund and the Vicki Soto 5K. And the way I like to close every show is please remember that when the universe comes knocking, you have to answer that door. Peace.